Welcome in live from your hometown, Oskaloosa Hy-Vee, for another edition of the Hy-Vee Homestretch. And I am currently being joined by the store director here at your hometown, Oskaloosa Hy-Vee, Cleet Yorth. Cleet, how's it going today?
Outstanding, Emery. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a few weeks since I had a chance to talk with you. We had the Thanksgiving holiday, the lighted Christmas parade, which by all accounts was a success for the town.
Good turnout this year.
Yeah, I had a great time. I was doing some announcing for it as well. So with all that being said, we get a chance to take a deep breath, and we are full-fledged into the holiday season here in December. So first things first, what do we have on the menu here during this Thursday night?
We're trying something new tonight. So we're doing a ham steak, white cheddar mac and cheese, veggie, and Texas toast for only $5.
All right, well, that looks like a perfectly feasible deal for everybody who is doing what they do. Here on a Thursday, we talk a lot not only about the meals, but also about other deals that you have going on. And for you, I saw you studying up on what kind of deals that you have for December and coming up this weekend. So I'll let you, I know you were studying, quiz time. What are the deals?
Let's see how we do. So I was brushing up because we have a record number of month-long deals. So we got 9 deals this month. So first up.
All right.
Yep.
Had to clear that.
Got a little, my kid brought home, you know, they go to the daycare and they bring home colds, so.
Well, and the fact that you have 9 deals, you have to say, you know, you'd like to try to get them out in like as few breaths as possible.
That's right. So first up, we have that Smart Milk. It's $1.48 a gallon. We've got dozen Hy-Vee large eggs for just 48 cents, which is incredibly cheap. That's almost $2 a dozen cheaper than our neighbors next door. We have boneless, skinless chicken breast for $1.99 a pound out of our service meat department. We have Sunny Mandarins, so they're our own Hy-Vee brand of fresh mandarin oranges. It's a 2-pound bag for just $1.88. Tostitos chips for just $1.48. Surly Classic White Bread, $1.28. Palermo's Pizzas, 3 for $4. Extra laundry detergent is $1.39, which is the cheapest price I've ever seen. We bought half a truckload of that one. And then lastly, we have 24 packs of Busch Light for just $16.99.
You didn't have to look at the sheet one time.
That's right.
Unbelievable. The guy is a machine. All right, so those are fantastic deals as always, and those are month-long deals, correct?
Yep, that's right. But we're also in the midst of a 3-day sale that started today. Just a couple quick hitters. We've got what we're calling a Porkapalooza sale. So if it's got chop in the name, it's on sale. So we've got stuffed chops, 3 for $5, 4-ounce boneless chops, only 68 cents each. We have whole boneless pork loins for $1.48. If that's not your cup of tea, we've got top round roast for $2.88 a pound, and then Pepsi 6-packs are 3 for $5, which is a super cheap price. I haven't seen that one in quite a while, so great deals there.
And that's going to be going on today, tomorrow, and Saturday.
Yep.
So you have plenty of time to get in and enjoy those fantastic deals. Before I get you out of here, what is on the menu for next Thursday?
Next week, we're doing a thick-cut bone-in pork chop, veggie, and a huge baked potato with a slice of Texas toast for only $5.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it at all. You're a madman, Cleet.
Best deal in town.
Thanks so much for joining us again.
Thanks,
appreciate all the deals, and thanks for saving so many people so much money.
I try.
He tries. Listen to this guy. All right, so we got a full show here for you here on the Hy-Vee Homestretch, and later on in the show, we're going to be replaying an interview that we did earlier this week for the Hy-Vee Homestretch, and that includes introducing the brand new volleyball coach at William Penn University, her identity, and interview with activities director, athletic director Nick Rule as well. That's going to be coming up your way later on in the show. Also, we are going to be chatting William Penn women's basketball with senior Sarah Hansen as well as their head coach Steve Williamson, and we'll also be talking Oskaloosa boys basketball with their assistant coach and father of Xavier Foster, highly touted sophomore for Oskaloosa. DeJuan Foster will be here later on the show as well. So we'll start all that when we come back from this break. This is the Hy-Vee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today. Save big this week at Hy-Vee on Skippy Peanut Butter, just $1.68. Tombstone Pizza, 3 for only $9. Ground beef, just $1.99. And boneless pork loin, only $1.99 a pound. Plus, this holiday, let us do the cooking and order your pre-made holiday meal from Hy-Vee. Choose from a variety, like our Applewood Pit Ham Dinner that serves 12 with 4 side dishes, mashed potatoes and gravy, and 2 dozen rolls. All for only $129.99. Only at Hy-Vee.
Look at that mouth. That poor, parched mouth. What'd you eat for lunch? Chalk dust? Did your face storm a sandcastle? You're being awfully quiet. Is that because your mouth feels like the business end of a Dremel saw? Is it because your mouth just wrote a haiku and all 17 syllables were dry heaves? Right now, your mouth could be tongue bathing in the refreshing citrus kick of Mountain Dew. Instead, it feels like you've been motorboating King Tut's sarcophagus. Show some mercy. Crack open an ice-cold Mountain Dew. You know your mouth wants you to. Do the Dew.
Welcome back live from your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. It's the Hy-Vee Homestretch. Emery Songer, joined by my first guest this evening. He's the head women's basketball coach at William Penn University, Steve Williamson. Coach, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Emery. Nice to be here.
Your team's off to a nice start, 8-3. I don't think anybody can complain too much about that. I had a chance the last couple of games to see them in person, in action, in conference play, looking very strong. For those who didn't get a chance to listen to the broadcast on Saturday, you had a very odd game against a Peru State team that had 5 active players. One of them got hurt in the third quarter. You finished playing against 4, but we talked about it. Your team didn't have a whole lot to complain about after that, even with your leading scorer Sarah Hansen not available. Take me through that particular game last week and where you think your team is 11 games into the season.
I thought we did some really good things. Last game, I thought we came out, we played hard, we played aggressive. They sat in a 2-3 zone all game long, and I thought we did a good job, not just selling for threes, but attacking inside. They actually did what we talked about in practice and really worked on getting the ball inside. And the nice thing was, too, is we had some other players step up. We knew with Sarah not being there that we're going to need some players to step up and produce a little bit more than what they've done in the past. And, Jenna Santee came in, hit 6 threes, really kind of picked up where Sarah, is usually our best shooter. Jenna came in with like 6 for 9, I think it was, behind the arc, and really stepped up. And we had Vashti Rojba. I still can't get it right, but
there's a lot of confidence in that name.
But she did a really good job inside. So I thought our defensive effort was really good. So playing a team that only had 5 players, you can't sit back because they do play hard. They are a team that will compete and get after you. So I'm just glad the effort that we showed up with and played with.
I think that, I try to do the math of the trips that you guys have to make, and last Saturday was the second longest. This coming Saturday is the longest, and it is against Evangel in Springfield, Missouri. That is a long trip. It's an overnighter for the teams going down there to play on Saturday. Long trips always are tough. We saw the William Penn men stumble for the first time this season after a long trip to Peru on Saturday. I think they're going to be a little bit more ready for this one, and I'm sure you're hoping that your team, now back at full strength, going to be ready for this one at Evangel. You know how tough this conference is. What do you make of this matchup that you have coming up on Saturday?
Again, like you mentioned, the road trips are long. That makes it a hurdle to overcome. Just going through finals week is another issue, because kids are really working hard on their grades and they're really concentrating on the academic side of things, but they also got to remember they still got to play basketball. Then on top of that, this is our last game before break, and so everybody's trying to make their Christmas break plans, getting home, this and that. We just got, we talked about tonight, we got to be focused, we got to be ready to play. You got to be concentrated on the game at hand, and Evangel's a good team. They play hard. They got a really good post players averaging 20 and 10 right now. They got a really good guard who's shooting the ball very well, shooting like 40% behind the arc. So they got 2 really good players that are carrying them right now. They played some really tough teams. Their record is like 1-6 right now, but you look at who they played, almost everybody they played has been ranked except for 2 or 3 schools. So, and then going down there again, and I've heard it's a tough place to play. I've never played there before, so it'll be a new experience. But, they're a good team. We better have our head on our shoulders right, and we better be ready to play hard and better be focused on the game. Once finals gets over tomorrow, they better be all focused on Evangel and not worried about Christmas break.
That's a fun fact as well, that you almost have a month off for these girls. So trying to get focused for one more big game, and then you can kind of take a mental breath before you get back into it for January. So This South Division, especially in this conference, is loaded with some ranked teams that are very difficult to beat. You know that very well. You knew that coming into this season. How important has it been, though, to kind of build this resume up? You have 8 wins in your first 11 games. You're going for 9 this Saturday before you get into that onslaught, that gauntlet that's going to be with what I think is pretty consensus around the nation. This is the toughest women's basketball conference around.
I think it's good. I mean, I think it, especially when you start over a program and your coaching philosophy is a lot different than what was here previous, to get people to buy in, to get those wins, it helps the buy-in process a little bit quicker. You know, they get teams, the student athletes to believe in you as a coach, and helps you realize what you're doing is the right thing. So getting those wins early is important, especially in this league. I mean, because wins are going to be hard to come by. I mean, you go 500 in this league, you feel pretty good about yourself, especially with how good the Southern Division is, with with the Evangels, with the Benedictines, Bakers, Mid-American Nazarene. I mean, we got 4 or 5 teams ranked in the top 25 right now. We got others that very easily could be, but again, the schedule they played has been pretty tough. So, I mean, it's going to be a brutal league. It's going to be a real good conference, and we're looking forward to it.
For me, getting a chance to see your team play with regularity, I like the mix of players. You mentioned Jenna Santee. She, I think, entered Saturday 4 of 23 from three-point land, and then when you needed her to score points, she went 6 for 9 from 3, really helped lead the way. And when we talked about this on Saturday, you could talk about Washington Wagbaroach, Sarah Hansen, and what they bring to the table. They're going to be the headliners. But when I watch Sham Troop play, she seems to do the stuff that may not pop into the box score too frequently, but she is a player that it's really hard to succeed if you don't have one of those on your team and out there for 30 minutes a night. What has she brought to this year's team?
I think she's brought a really good defensive presence. I mean, she's someone that takes a lot of pride in her defense. You know, when we play man-to-man, if we need to stop someone, she's usually the one guarding them. You know, any guard that she can guard the 1 through the 4, and she takes pride in that. She takes pride in shutting people down. She's a heck of a rebounder. You know, you talk about doing the little things. You know, she's kind of like a mini version of a Dennis Rodman who doesn't care about the scoring, but she's going to go out there, she's going to bust her butt, getting rebounds, she's going to bust her butt, playing good defense, she's going to dive on the floor for loose balls. She can get out and run in transition. That really opens up things for others. So Sham's done a great job. And you have other players like Rochelle Parks, who backup post player, who just comes in and rebounds and is real physical and gives us another presence of just a hustler and very determined. So having players like that is really important when you have good shooters like we do in Sarah. We have, like you said, the headliners, her and Vashti, and a player like Jenna Santee, who just knows the game, is smart, and I think she has like almost 60 assists to 30-some turnovers. That's a heck of a assist-to-turnover ratio. So those players are all important. Just because they're not scoring doesn't mean they're not a big factor in what we're trying to do.
Let's talk about Jenna Santee for a second. A couple years ago, she, as a freshman, was playing for Coach Scott and was, getting some big minutes for a team that didn't have any real expectations in her Coach Scott's first year. Last year, we didn't see her at all at the varsity level. She was playing JV ball. I didn't really know where she was until I dug further and knew she was still in the program. And then to see her back out there this year and in a really important role, like you talked about, distributing the basketball very well and picked up the scoring when you needed her to without her backcourt mate there on Saturday. What have you seen from her and her work ethic, and how do you think she has responded from being a varsity player her freshman year to spending time with the junior varsity her sophomore year and now as a junior major player for your team this year?
I think it's a great story. It's a story of a kid that worked her butt off during the summer and came back in with a good attitude, with an attitude that she had something to prove. I mean, she could have very easily just quit and gave up on basketball and said, I'm done playing. I went through it. I don't want to try and prove myself over again. But she came up and proved herself. I mean, our track workouts all summer long, our conditioning. When we got back here, I mean, she was one that was really working hard, and you knew she had something in her. And just having a coach believe in you, I think that helped her prove that she can still play. She's a heck of a player. I mean, she might not be the best athlete. She might be the fastest one out there. She knows the game. She can see the floor very well, and she runs her team for us. And it's a great story to see a kid that really has bought in and has worked as hard as she has to get to where she is right now, and the starting point guard from being on JV to now being the starting point guard in 1 year. And it's all on her. I mean, she's worked extremely hard.
And I've seen a handful of games, and she's played in major minutes. It's not like she's in there in bit part roles. She starts the games. I mean, I would venture to guess she played
about 30-some minutes.
Yeah, 32, 33 minutes, even against a team that was shorthanded. So you like having her out there. I also saw you play a very pressure-oriented defense against Peru State. Is that something that you like? You do have a lot of length on this team. You do have quite a bit of foot speed at certain positions that aren't necessarily typical for some of the other teams that you might be seeing in this conference. Is that something you like to do defensively?
I think that's something we're starting to work towards. I mean, when I took over, there's so much, like I said, changing a coach is a big difference from coaching philosophy to coach. And so when I came in here, I know last year they pressed, and the way they press is not the way I like to press. It's more, just run all over and try and trap the ball, helter-skelter. We want to be a more disciplined press. We don't want to give up easy layups. We don't want to get beat. And so, but we had to work on our half-court defense first. I'm a big believer, if you can't guard in the half-court, there's no way you're going to guard in the full court. So we've gotten to the point where I think our half-court defense is really, really good, and now we can start extending and working on our full court. And that's something we're going to be doing a lot more. After break, we're going to do a lot more pressure defense. We're going to be a lot more up on you, full court, man-to-man, full court, zone press, trying to create turnovers, and even just make them take time getting the ball across half court, not letting a team have 25, 20, 26 seconds to run a half court offense. Make them feel a little bit more pressure and more rushed.
For your team, you talked about some of those players that we saw come off the bench, and it's important for a team, especially if you want to run a full court style defense, to have some level of depth to be able to keep fresh players in there and not feel like you're losing much. Of course, when the score kind of got out of hand with you guys in favor on Saturday, we saw a lot of players that we haven't seen so far this year. But who are some of the important pieces off the bench that, maybe some games you only see them for 4 or 5 minutes, but other games they could give you 10 to 12 minutes and be able to score the ball or handle the ball, something that a player that you think could end up being very vital to this team's success?
Well, I think, like Rochelle Parks is one that I mentioned earlier. I think she can be, she's had huge games for us already this year where, she comes in off the bench and had like 8 offensive rebounds in 1 game. She's someone that's just a banger, real physical inside, and can give us a presence down low when Vashi's not in the game. I think Brian Mosby could do some things for us. She's starting to pick, she kind of got hurt a little bit at the beginning of the year because she sat out due to an injury, and now she's starting to come along and do some things better. Jenna Santee, or not Jenna Santee, but Jeanne Geraldo, who, again, starting to buy in a little bit better. I think she can give us another shooter off the bench and somebody can score the ball. She also rebounds very well. You don't look at her; she's not a very good athlete, but she can. She does a good job getting there and getting rebounds. And then we got G. Grumbing coming back after an injury after Christmas, and I expect big things out of her.
Yeah, so you have all those players in addition to the Hansons and the Nwagbroches and the Santees and the troops that we've already talked about. So this team does have some level of depth. Last question for you, Coach. We know that the big portion of the season is awaiting after the Christmas break and the tough teams in this conference. But what do you see the ceiling as? A lot of these players that were here last year know what it's like to play in that national tournament. They'd love to get back there. You're off to a great start this season. But what do you think realistically is the ceiling for this team after 11 games so far?
That's a great question. There's times I feel that this team could be really, really, really good. I feel that we have the tools and the pieces that we need to get back to the national tournament. And then, we have instances where I think we're nowhere close to being there. And again, it's a learning process. We got the pieces. We got to work on our consistency. Not just shooting the ball, but how we show up for practice. We got to be consistently coming ready to work hard in practice. We got to be consistent when we step on the court and play. Just we still make too many mental mistakes, and that's good teams don't do that. We got to show up to a game and play hard for 40 minutes, not play hard for 25 minutes and then try and coast. And we've done that in some games. So I think we have a lot of potential. I think we could be a great team, but we still got to be consistent, and we still got a lot of work to do, and we got to work harder to reach that potential.
Absolutely. Coach Steve Williamson, the William Penn women are back in action as part of a doubleheader in the Heart of America Athletic Conference on the road in Springfield, Missouri against Evangel starting at 2 p.m. on Saturday. You can hear the broadcast on KMZ and starting at 1:45. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Emery.
We'll be seeing you on Saturday.
Yep, great.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll keep it with William Penn women's basketball after the break, as we'll be joined by senior guard Sarah Hanson. That's coming up right after the break on the HyVeeHomestretch on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today. Save big this week at Hy-Vee on Skippy Peanut Butter, just $1.68. Tombstone Pizza, 3 for only $9. Ground beef, just $1.99. And boneless pork loin, only $1.99 a pound. Plus, this holiday, let us do the cooking and order your pre-made holiday meal from Hy-Vee. Choose from a variety, like our Applewood Pit Ham Dinner that serves 12 with 4 side dishes, mashed potatoes and gravy, and 2 dozen rolls. All for only $129.99. Only at Hy-Vee.
Holding, number 79, defense. First down. I'm also holding a party tonight.
Great call by the official. Looks like we've got another flag on the field.
Holding a Pepsi. Necessary refreshment.
Hey, Ted, bring some of that Pepsi to my party.
Pepsi and the NFL. Welcome to the Fun Doesn't End Zone.
And we are back live here on the Hy-Vee Homestretch. Emery Sunger now being joined by senior guard for the William Penn women's basketball team, Sarah Hansen. Sarah, thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Okay, I wanted to talk to you for a lot of different reasons, but first and foremost, let's just piggyback off of what Coach Williamson was talking about this team. You were part of the team last year that made the trip to the national tournament for the first time in a really long time. It was a little unexpected by the time it was announced, but a trip you guys would like to make again this year. New coach, new system, a lot of new players. Through 11 games, how do you feel about where this team's at?
I feel really good because I was also a new player last year, so I also had to come to a new coach with a new system and everything like that, and we started off kind of slow last year, and it took us a while to buy into the program, like Coach was saying, that we're kind of starting to do this year. So I see a similar start this year, except an even better one considering we have the best start since 1990s, somewhere around there. So I feel really good about this year. All we got to do is keep buying into the program and buy into the system that Coach is telling us to do, and I think that we'll go a long way this year, hopefully.
8-3 is a very good start, especially with the first-year head coach, but you know very well from your experience last year that there are a lot of tough teams coming around the corner, a lot of ranked teams. There a couple years ago, 3 of the final 4 of the NAI Division I came out of this conference, so knowing those teams, I know you feel good about 8-3, but is this team, you think, ready to take on some of those Titans that you know you'll have to beat if you want to make another run toward the national tournament?
I mean, there's always room for improvement with our team. I see us moving forward. We started off kind of rough, but our defense is what's kind of getting us a long way this year. Whereas last year it was mainly offense, like we were focusing on getting 80 points a game and all this stuff, but now it's like we're really focused on defense, limiting the opposing team. So yeah, I think we're getting ready slowly, but I feel like we're up for the challenge, and I see it in our team a lot. When we go against better teams, we seem to play up to their level, and then when we play like teams that aren't as good, we seem to like play down. So that's a thing that we kind of need to start being consistent with how we play each team.
You guys did win a couple of games against highly ranked opponents, which I think really helped in getting you guys one of those at-large spots to the national tournament. So with that, the team kind of coasted to a win Saturday, but you were not there. That's one game that you won't be at, but it's not because you were hurt. It's not because of, academics or anything. This is an interesting story. I'll let you tell it. Take me through what you were doing on Saturday instead of at the game, and kind of how that all happened.
Well, when I got out of high school, when I graduated high school, I decided to join the Army, and I became a surgical tech, took a year off of school, and then came back and started playing. So right now I'm in the reserves. I've been in for about 4.5, 5 years now, planning on making a career out of it. So each month we pretty much have drill where we have to go in one weekend a month and just do soldier development and all these medical classes and a lot of things, but they're required. And recently we found out that deployment is like very, very possible in the near future. So we've been kind of stressing about that and getting ready. So that's what we were doing. That's what I was doing last Saturday.
Well, and that's very interesting because you can tell, I mean, for those who haven't seen you play, I'm going to break the news to everyone that you're 5'5". You're not a super tall player, but you have a really good shot. You're a natural scorer. So basketball has been really important. Take me through your journey in basketball as well to this point.
Oh gosh. Well, when I was younger, I actually wanted to be a football player in high school, so that's a funny story about it. But my father actually coached me since about 2nd grade, and then in 4th grade I did AYBT up all the way through high school. I did AAU, and my dad was always my coach. So the screaming, the yelling, all that I'm very used to. Getting kicked out of gyms. All that I'm used to. So mental toughness was something with the Army that really developed me not only as a player and a soldier, but as a person. So basketball has always been the go-to. It's always been the stress reliever and everything. My bondage with my father, everything, pretty much.
Where did you go to school before we saw you come to William Penn last year?
Oh, well, my freshman year I went to Cornell College in Mount Vernon. And then my sophomore year, I went to Black Hawk East College, which was a junior college in Kewanee, Illinois. All
right, so you had a couple of journeys. Eventually, what led you to playing for Coach Scott last year in William Penn University?
Well, out of junior college, I had a lot. I had a lot of offers, and honestly, William Penn was actually my last. It was my last decision. Somewhere I just didn't want to go. I had a lot of Division II looks. I was like, you know the stigma with Division II and NAIA, NCAA, all that stuff. So what I did was I decided to do college visits, and I visited a few Division II colleges, and I played with them, and it was easy for me to score. It was easy. So I came here and I scrimmaged with them, and it was really hard. And I was like, what? That doesn't make sense because this is NAIA, that's Division II, why is it, And so I was like, okay. So Coach Scott, he actually contacted me all the time. And it means a lot when the head coach, the actual head coach, contacts you. And not only did he do that, but he also came to my hometown and he put me through a workout and killed me. I was dead. And he took me out to eat. And I was just very interested. He told me he was going to make me better, and that's honestly what I cared about, was getting better and being on a successful team and just having that team chemistry. I always asked about that as well. And I don't know, I felt like after that day with him, I was very strongly leaning towards William Penn, and that's what made my decision in the end.
And you were immediate impact to the offense for a coach in Coach Scott that really liked to score the basketball and wanted to play as fast a pace as possible. Had a lot of big games. You're having a really good season so far this year. How has that transition been for you and players like Vashti who've been here, even Jenna Santee, who is back to the varsity level this year, coming from a coach who, you guys wanted to score a lot of points, to a coach where now it's very defensive oriented and you guys want to execute in the half court offense, and you may not score 80 points a game, but you're hoping to hold the opposition to less than 50.
Yeah, I think it's a lot different because my coaches are going to kill me if they see this, my previous ones, but I was never really taught. I was taught to play defense, but the coaches in my past always expected me just shoot the ball, score the ball, score the ball. So that was the main focus. And now this year it's I don't care what you can do on offense, you better play defense. So now it's I'm really trying to buy into defense, and I realize that's kind of helping me with everything else. I realize that it kind of goes together. I'm getting lots of layups, and last year it was mostly threes. I didn't take it into the basket. I didn't pull up jumper. Those weren't too big. It was mainly threes coming down, shoot a three. And I don't know, with the defense and the team that we have this year, I am just a lot more motivated to take it to the basket or to get that steal and take it to the basket. And yeah, that's It's the only difference, but it's a good difference, definitely.
Well, the team's winning, and that's important. You're also still the leading scorer as well, so you're still getting those looks offensively. Last question, it's kind of basketball related, but you have one game left. You finish finals. Coach Williamson said he wants his players to really focus on what happens on the 9th to make sure that we go down and get a win in Springfield, but then you almost have a month off. I know Coach probably has some dates that he wants to make sure that you're back and ready to go and everything, but what's the holiday break look like for Sarah Hansen?
For Sarah Hansen, well, we aren't very sure yet. He's kind of keeping it a surprise if we are staying next week and practicing, or if we are able to go home. If we're staying and practicing, and I'm working. But either way, I'm staying. I'm staying here until probably the 9th or 16th, and then I have to go back to my unit and do work, and then we'll be back on the 27th. So I'll get like a week off, but I'll definitely be working out. We have our fitness trainer. She's sending us home some workouts to do. My dad, he's a coach, so I have the gym. I have all access to the gym, so that's the great thing about it. Not many people are so lucky on my team. So hopefully, I think we'll all be working on the off season. Otherwise, it's going to be hard coming back because I'm getting old, and I know I'm getting out of shape. I get out of shape after 3 days of not working out. So definitely have to be running and doing stuff off the court.
Well, we'll definitely be able to watch that first and foremost, because we'll, of course, be broadcasting all the women's games. So be sure to check out our William Penn broadcast in Springfield, Missouri, coming up on Saturday. And then, of course, after the winter break, we'll be right back at it with a laundry list of games and important games you guys will play in Hart Play. Sarah, thanks so much for joining us. This was a great talk, and we'll be seeing you on Saturday.
All right.
That is Sarah Hansen, senior guard, William Penn University women's basketball. William Penn also made an interesting hire for their volleyball coach, and we had a chance to talk with her as she was introduced by athletics director Nick Rule. We'll have that interview coming up right after the break, right here on the HyVee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy, with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today.
Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things: dew, juice, and caffeine, rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption.
Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart.
Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
Roger that.
Get charged up with Mountain Dew Kickstart, now in 2 energizing new flavors: mango lime and raspberry citrus. Fuel with flavor.
Welcome back here live on the No Coast Network. My name is Emery Songer, and I'm being joined once again by the Activities Director, Athletics Director, Director of Athletics, Nick Rule. Nick, we always have a chance to talk about random stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it involves directly a specific program or just William Penn in general.
Sure, yeah.
But we have a specific program to talk about today, and it is the volleyball program, which this is one of your first big hires of your tenure as AD. Take us through this process.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was about a month ago, Emery, that you and I were sitting down at HyVee for the HyVee Homestretch and talking about the next direction and the future of our women's volleyball program. And, you know, we had an opportunity to take a step back and look at where we wanted to go. And we did some, we thought in a lot of depth about where we want the future of this program to be. And so we started a hiring process. We had a national search. We had 43 applicants, which in about 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, getting 43 applicants, it's pretty amazing. It shows us that there's a lot of interest in the position, but also, you know, a lot of belief in what William Penn has going on in today's day and age, where, you know, you have the internet and just everything at your fingertips. You know, with social media and such, you can do a real quick search and look at a place to see if this is where you want to be. And that many candidates showed us that this is we have a good situation, and with our athletic facilities and you know, the historic Penn Gymnasium, which we're in here today, and just this type of student athlete that we can attract, that showed us that there was a belief in that. And so, we want to go in an enhanced direction in our program. We're doing a lot of things well, but we want to see some more success on the court as well. And so this was an opportunity to take it back and reassess and see what, in our next head coach, what things do we need, what attributes do we need in order for us to get to deliver the best possible student experience. And so we took a step back and we did that, and we feel like we've got the best candidate for the job, and we're very, very fortunate about the direction we're going.
Okay, take us through how you narrowed it down from 43 down to 1, and then what made your candidate of choice stand out.
Yeah, 43 down to 1. I mean, first off, you take a look at several different things. The first thing is, the resume portion, things like that. Does that experience or what they're talking about in their cover letter, does that fit? Does that speak to you? And so we were really quickly able to take a good portion out. We got it down to 16 from that, and from that we started doing phone interviews. And you can quickly find out in a 30-minute phone interview if someone has that vision and you share a vision, or you can build a vision together going forward. And then from that we narrowed it down to 6. And then there was one candidate that just kept coming back up to the top over and over again, and it had brought several things to the table. One, transformational leadership. We're big believers on that here. Not only can you lead, but can you transform people? Does your presence bring this sense of urgency, but also this sense of respect and this sense of I want to go to battle with that person. We were looking for someone who could grow our current talent, but also someone who can recruit new talent. I think we have a good core here, but I also think we have a huge opportunity with our facilities and with our university to bring in an even better student athlete. And so it's growing the current talent we have here and bringing in some more talent in the future. And so we felt very confident about that. And what she did at Southwestern Community College showed that. We wanted someone that could build a program, and it was very clear from year 1 to year 2 that she was able to do that and turn a program around. And from that, we want someone that has the power of positive leadership, but doesn't just talk about it, but lives it and breathes it within that program. And in our athletic department, we want a good teammate. And so those things were very important. And Coach Cleaver continued to come back to the top every single time we looked at the resume. We talked to references. We had some of our current coaches here that had heard about her that coming and talking to me. She kept coming back to the top. Phone interview was amazing. She did very well. Had high expectations from the phone interview coming into to our hiring committee, and we had 7 people on the hiring committee from various different backgrounds at the university, and everyone agreed that this is someone we needed to get. And so we offered the job, and she accepted, and we're happy for her to be. We're just thrilled that she's the next coach of our volleyball program.
Alicia Cleaver going to take over this program. Last question for you, Nick. This program has had a struggle within getting wins, and I know that's what you just mentioned. You would like to see the team win more on the court, but there's a lot more that goes into being a coach at this institution than just winning on the floor. So what would you hope to see Coach Cleaver accomplish?
Yeah, it's a true definition of a student athlete. We want our students to be successful in the classroom. We want them to be successful in life. We want them to have a big picture perspective on what it takes to be a good citizen. And then part of that is success on the court as well. It's not the only part. It's a one part of the whole puzzle, one piece of it. And so we feel very comfortable and confident that some of the good things that are going on in the program will be continued, and some of the areas that we can enhance will be enhanced. And so that was very important to us. We do have a good thing going on here, but we also see some room for improvement. And one thing that really impressed us in the interview process was it was clear that Coach Cleaver had done research on our team and where we could improve. And she identified that before we even told her. And so we were completely on the same page from the start. So I think that the values are there as far as what the definition of a true student athlete is and where we're going. And she understands that big picture perspective. And I don't believe that successful programs just come from focusing on wins and losses. Successful programs focusing on within, focusing on relationship building, and focusing on the big picture perspective on what it means to be a student athlete. And she talked about all that and has shown that she's done done that in her time at Southwestern Community College. And so this is a big hire for us. And we had candidates with all different types of experience, and it wasn't just coming down to experience. It came down to, is this person believe in what we believe, and do they want to take the program where we want to go? And it was a no-brainer for us, and we're just thrilled to have Coach Cleaver as our next women's volleyball coach here.
We're very excited to see that as well. Nick, congratulations on the hire, and we'll definitely be checking in with you again soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Emery.
All right, that is Nick Rule. He is the Director of Athletics, William Penn University. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by the brand new volleyball coach at William Penn University, Alicia Cleaver, right after this on the No Coast Network.
If you like to save money and save time, then this is what you'd call a really big deal. HyVeeDeals.com is where you'll find hundreds of deals, all on one mobile-friendly website. HyVeeDeals.com makes saving money easy with digital coupons, weekly ads, fuel savers, and more. For one-stop savings, start here. Get all the latest deals at HyVeeDeals.com today.
Back here from Penn Gymnasium on the William Penn University campus, and I'm joined by the brand new volleyball coach at William Penn University, Alicia Cleaver. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on the job. Before we talk about your personal principles and what you're trying to bring to this program, take us through your experience in the sport of volleyball as a player and as a coach.
Absolutely. I was a multi-sport athlete all growing up, and then senior year, you kind of make those decisions. Well, what are you going to do in college? And I couldn't quite decide, so I played two. So I played volleyball and basketball. And my freshman year of college, I was kind of a utility kid. I did a little outside, a little back row, and then ended up being the setter, which that was kind of my forte, so that was exciting. And then also in that college time, we started a club back in my hometown, still running today. It's great experience because when you are a multi-sport athlete, it's hard to be able to do the club and your winter sport. So that was kind of what we wanted that to be, is for that multi-sport athlete, and that's something I'm really passionate about. And so that opportunity there to have the club has opened so many doors and so many connections at the college level, junior college level, high school level, and then ultimately that led to my position at Southwestern, where I've been the last 2 years, and was able to, kind of start my college career there and get things rolling, and to, bring some girls from my club, bring some girls from my hometown, spread the radius into, into Nebraska and Missouri, and just kind of open those doors and those connections. And then, now to be here at William Penn and to kind of get things going here, I'm excited.
It's a very, very different adjustment going from a junior college to a four-year university, but one I'm sure that you thought about before making this jump. What about William Penn was so attractive to you when you saw the job opening?
It is just such a well-known university in the Midwest, even I think nationally as well. Just strong athletics, just phenomenal facilities. There's just no, universities are just not up to what William Penn has, and that's just a great opportunity to bring girls in on campus, and to see what everything it has to offer is amazing, and it's exciting to be a part of this and for this opportunity. I'm just really excited to get here and get started, meet the girls, and kind of get things rolling in the spring.
There are a lot of local girls on this particular team, but the wins have not been coming the last few years. I know you're going to bring a different kind of idea and principle and some strategies to this team, not only on the court, but also in recruiting and what off the court things that you're hoping to accomplish. What are some of the high watermarks that you have that you want to check off the list as quickly as possible here at William Penn?
Definitely, right away, just building that relationship with your returning players and that trust, and getting to know them, and then getting to know me, and then kind of figuring out what our immediate needs, and what do we need to start recruiting, and starting with junior college players that can come in and play right away. They have game experience and they're accustomed to the speed of the game, and then kind of narrowing down those high school seniors, who's ready, who needs development, and kind of going there, and just making those contacts. We're a little late in the game, but hopefully January we can get some girls on campus, and they'll fall in love, and we'll get them here, and then start developing the returners that we have, and seeing what positions are there and what we need, and it's just an exciting time, and there's just a lot of opportunity here.
With that kind of opportunity, you want to win more games in a very tough Heart of America Athletic Conference, and this schedule is not easy, which is why William Penn has struggled over the last few years. For you on the court, what are some of the important things that you want your girls to be executing?
Absolutely. I'm huge on mistakes and limiting errors, those unforced errors, serving errors in the net out of bounds, hitting errors in the net out of bounds, right? Those things that it's 100% controllable. I'm huge on controlling the controllables, and that is something that I preach day in and day out, is playing clean, and that's something that we have to do. And so it's something I want to kind of get that thing going in your head and understanding, when you have 5 hitting errors, probably not best to hit that one out of bounds. But that's something that, you think about. And another thing is blocking. That's something big that I really want to get on defense. I'm very defensive oriented, and I'm really excited to meet Ashley. She's a phenomenal libero and has done, she's excelled here, and so it's exciting to see and excited to know that she's returning. But then, working that blocking, the footwork, the technique, reading the hitters and things like that, and those are things we're going to start implementing and start working on right away.
Last question for you. This obviously a nice place for a lot of these coaches who have made long-term careers out of their stay here at William Penn. Football, men's basketball with Todd Hafner, John Henry. A lot of people like Nick Rule who went to school here and just never wanted to leave. This is when you come here, it's part of a family-oriented situation. For you, for this particular job, and what are the long-term goals that you see for your volleyball program and for your personal goals as well?
Yeah, definitely something for me. I've always wanted to be at a 4-year. I want to be a 4-year coach, and I'm here now, and I'm really excited. And ultimately, we want to build William Penn up. We want it to be recognized. We want to be well known. We want to compete at the top of the heart. We want to compete nationally, and that's what we're looking for. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time, and I'm excited to put that time in, and for the girls, put that time in, and to see them grow and build, and have success. But it's going to start this spring, and to get things rolling, I'm excited. I'm really excited for it.
Well, we're excited to have you. It's going to be fun to kind of see how this program just continues to blossom with you leading the way. Coach, thanks so much for joining us, and
yes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, that is Alicia Cleaver. She is the new volleyball coach at William Penn University. We'll go ahead and take a break, come back with more on the Hy-Vee Homestretch right after this on the No Coast Network.
Look at that mouth. That poor, parched mouth. What'd you eat for lunch? Chalk dust? Did your face storm a sandcastle? You're being awfully quiet. Is that because your mouth feels like the business end of a Dremel saw? Is it because your mouth just wrote a haiku and all 17 syllables were dry heaves? Right now, your mouth could be tongue-bathing in the refreshing citrus kick of Mountain Dew. Instead, it feels like you've been motorboating King Tut's sarcophagus. Show some mercy. Crack open an ice-cold Mountain Dew. You know your mouth wants you to. Do the do.
Welcome back. We're live here from your hometown Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. So we talk William Penn in this entire show. A very, very warm welcome for Alicia Cleaver and the new volleyball coach at William Penn and what she's going to bring to the table. We're excited for that. I'm going to talk Oskaloosa High School basketball now with assistant coach DeJuan Foster. And DeJuan, first and foremost, let's talk William Penn real quick. You have a lot of ties to William Penn and coaching changes and everything, but Nick Rule, who you know very well, he's definitely trying to improve some of these programs, trying to get them on the level that men's basketball or football have been at the last few years.
Well, Nick's doing a really good job. He's a really go-getter. Nick really wants to get things done, so I think he's getting things done a little bit faster than anybody expected. He's going out and getting, coaches and filling these voids. I think, I thought we were going to lose a lot when we lost Nick as the golf coach, but those guys stepped up and got it done. They're getting it done. And it seems like things are changing athletically at Penn. I mean, for the longest, it's been, football and basketball have been kind of the show. Volleyball's had some runs, but it seems like everything's on the up and up right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned your buddy Chris Pearson, Dylan Detweiler really helping that women's golf program after Nick subsided. So we're excited to see how that all pans out. One thing I'm really excited for every time I hit the gym is to see the Oskaloosa boys basketball team in action. Xavier, we'll talk about Xavier in a little bit, but for this team, the expectations that are there, knowing what they accomplished with 15 wins last year as a very young group. A lot of people think this is probably the year, if there would be a year, to really make a deep run with Jared Cruz and that senior class, along with Tanner DeCock and Spencer Tucker, who have played excellent minutes so far this season. For you, heading into this season, not only just as Xavier's father, but also as an assistant coach trying to get this team as a whole to the next level with Coach Parker and the rest of the assistants, what was your realistic goals and what were you hoping to see in the early portion of this season?
Really, the thing is, and I know it's really cliche, but my deal is to trust the process. I still understand that we're a really young team, and the only thing that I told Parker from day one, our only expectation for these kids is to get better every day. I mean, we have all the talent in the world. I mean, we really do. And we have a lot of hungry talent because some of these kids played here 3-4 years ago, you know, and it feels good to them, I know, and they're out here busting their butts to, you know, get to the ultimate goal, but it's not really something we talk about. We really talk about just getting better every day.
So far this season, you know, through 4 games, it's been very impressive, including Tuesday night against Centerville. The third quarter especially, 39 points. The shooting was unbelievable. Xavier hit some shots. Spencer Tucker lost his mind out there. But last year it was really that question of how can we find ways to get Jared Cruz, Cole Henry, and Xavier Foster into the game at the same time, and it was tough to figure it out last year. You guys have definitely figured it out so far this year, and it has worked double figures almost every game for all of those guys. They're hitting the glass. You know, at least one of them has double-digit rebounds most of the time. There weren't a lot of rebounds to get with nobody missing any shots on Tuesday.
That was cool.
And Cole Henry with his assists, Xavier with his blocks, Jared with his all-around understanding of basketball. How important is it to have those 3 on the floor at the same time this year?
It's really important because they all need each other. You know, all 3 of those kids make the game easier for each other. You know, if it's not Cole's passing, it's his rebounding. Jared is just constantly in attack mode, and he draws. You know, he gets everybody else open shots, and then Xavier, he gets a lot of attention a lot of times for, in my opinion, no reason, but because he's big. So it all works. It's like if you could build a team, you'd say, you know, I want a guy who did this, this, and this, and we got it. Not to mention, you know, those other seniors like Spencer and Tanner's finally being aggressive offensively. Not saying that, you know, Tanner's going to be a big scorer, but now Tanner recognizes an open shot and he shoots it. Tucker Nunakoven's making open shots. Ryan Yates, sometimes there's just so many pieces to this thing, and we all need each other. It's pretty fun to coach these kids.
And if anybody is on the outside looking in, they say, well, Xavier Foster is getting all these Division I looks and offers, which is nice, and I'm sure you enjoy that, you know, being able to raise this kid to where he's at. Cole Henry now is getting a lot of Division I looks. Jared Cruz, as a senior, is getting some looks from some smaller schools, but he's a very complete player. But you almost forget how big of a piece guys like Tucker and DeCock and Nunakoven, and we can go a lot deeper on the bench than that for these guys who, you know, and you talked about it being a part of this program from the 6-win days a couple of seasons ago. So as a collective unit, there's a lot going on here. If there's one guy outside those 3, though, that you think is really vital, you know, whether it's Spencer Tucker shooting, Tanner DeCock's defense, even Nunakoven coming off the bench, any of those guys coming off the bench, who are a couple of guys that you think really help this team go when you're in a situation much like a game against Pella or a game against another fantastic team like maybe Mount Pleasant down the road?
Well, it just depends on what we need, because we have kids who can do everything. Nobody is like great at everything. We all have our little things. So, you know, maybe we need someone to get stops and, you know, call on Tanner. You know, Ryan's turned into a pretty good defender as well. Yates is pretty tough. He's solid. His demeanor is just so kind of low-key and even-keel. People don't really notice what he does for us, but I mean, he's so solid with the basketball. He doesn't turn it over. He makes open shots. I mean, Spencer can shoot from the gym. He walks in the gym. So it really depends on what we need at the moment, because we got kids who can do just about everything.
So far through 4 games, there hasn't been a lot of holes to poke into what you guys are doing. I know you wanted to beat Fairfield by more than the 12 points you did, but the other games you handled business pretty convincingly. You have Grinnell on Friday. We know that the Norwalks and the Newtons and the Pellas, those are going to be challenging games. Indianola, those are really challenging games. For you, and you see this team, what are a couple of facets of the game that you think can still be ironed out to a little bit more closer to perfection, at least, so you guys can definitely be executing at your highest?
Oh, we got tons of room to grow. Our defense and our defensive rebounding. I mean, you know, we play kind of defense. We look like we're playing defense sometimes, and we need to stay engaged a little bit more. And I mean, you know, as a coach, I'm asking for the perfect game, but, you know, we want our kids engaged every play, you know, playing defense and finishing every possession. Even defensive rebounding, you know, how many times the ball hit the floor, we didn't block out because we're tall. So it's just about giving effort all the time. And that's the only thing that, you know, and I think as a coach, we always ask for that, you know. We want so much for these kids to succeed. So it's just giving effort. It's all about effort, really.
A lot of this season is yet to be written. You still have 17 regular season games, so I'm not going to bore you with questions about, well, where you hope you are here or whatever, but you have a different angle on this than all the other coaches do right now, and that's the fact that you're coaching your son, and your son happens to be a highly touted Division I recruit for his class in 2020. So let's talk about that for a second. This process, I talked to you at the beginning of last year, and we talked kind of, where your thoughts were about and you're saying, he's just 14 years old. We're just kind of trying to get better still, but it's still really cool and fun. Let's fast forward to the beginning of this season. How has the process kind of accelerated, knowing that on almost every game Xavier plays, there are Division I coaches watching?
What the cool thing about it is it's Xavier. Nothing really changes. He's so even keel about so much, but I think the expectations there, we expect more out of him than we got last year, and he's getting it, but it's still a process, The Fairfield game, we didn't get it done. No, not the Pella Christian game was it. It was our first home game. Xavier was really bad, and it wasn't that he was bad basketball-wise. He was bad at everything else. It was so much about him and look at me. And I had to point that out to him, and he actually saw himself and said, wow, I didn't realize I was doing that. It's just growing as a basketball player, from what you think looks cool to what really is cool, So it's just one of those deals, just the growth in Xavier. It's all about getting better every day.
And with his running mate Cole Henry throwing up the double-doubles and triple-doubles he has the first few games of the season, Xavier's had a great opportunity not to have to worry about being the guy numbers-wise on the floor, but he knows how important he is to, especially the defense, and then offensively with his ability to stretch the floor as a big guy at 6'11", also take care of business inside. What are some of the things that you've seen him really excel at in the first 4 games this season?
I thought that he shot the ball a little bit better. He's been a bit more aggressive as far as attacking the basket. We talked about it last year. He scored most of his points on jump shots, or offensive putbacks, and now he's going towards the basket, getting fouls, getting to the free throw line. So that's what he's gotten better at. And you like it to be more aggressive, but it's still the process.
And we're still talking about a sophomore here. So he's in a program, Oskaloosa. They're hard-nosed. They like to play fast. They like to play within their offense. They don't like to do anything. When I watch Coach Parker's offense, one thing that I really like is that he's not afraid to play through his big guys, and that's passing the ball as well. And with Xavier and Cole and Jared, the gifted passers they are, that's really fun to watch when you have those big-to-big passing, having guys that are taller than everybody else feeding each other the basketball. So now, behind the scenes, you guys also, not only are coaches watching your son play these games and how he performs in games, but they're also very interested to see how he handles himself in individual workouts. How have those workouts been going, and can you take us through kind of what a workout will be with a Division I coach?
It's just a lot of skill work. They work on post moves, and they'll work on some ball handling, some shooting, and just it's nothing more than a typical workout, but at a pretty high level. Hopefully he's got a partner there who doesn't get a break, but it's about him being able to give effort for an extended amount of time. I mean, certain things will translate, just his size and everything else, but it's so much about his motor and being able to go harder, longer. And I think that's what they're really looking for. Big guys are few and far between, but big guys who can play really, really hard are unicorns.
Right. Well, and he's gotten a chance to play with some of the best recruits in his class as well, and in classes older than him as part of USA basketball. And watching some of the highlight tapes of that, it's hard to kind of get a read on some of those guys because a lot of those guys are wanting to play and try to get their highlights and get their stats, so everybody talks about them. I'm not going to mention names, Mr. Williamson, but for me, when I watch those clips and watching Xavier, an Oskaloosa native, playing with Zion Williamson, who is, I mean, there's not a basketball fan in the world who doesn't know about Zion Williamson at this point. So there's a lot of guys, and you're meeting some of the most famous coaches in the country. Right. For you, DeJuan, quickly, what are a couple of the experiences that have really stood out to you so far? Because we're still in the embryonic stage of his recruiting process.
I don't know. Midnight at the Fog was cool, and I've never been to Fog Alley. You know, go to the Fog and the atmosphere was there just great. Or like talking to Bill Self, or just, you know, sitting in Fran's office. You know, just sitting in Fran's office as his wife and kids walk in. They're like, hey guys, you know, it's, as a basketball fan, that's the part that's the coolest to me. As far as like Xavier and the other kids, I don't want to sound arrogant, but this is what we do. We play basketball, and they're just other basketball players when you on the court with them. You know, you watch their highlights and everything afterwards, but when you cross those lines, you're all basketball players, and it's about playing hard. And you know, if somebody said you should be here on the floor with them, you belong, so play like it.
DeJuan, thanks so much for joining us. Always fun to talk. We'll have you back in a couple weeks. That's the Hy-Vee Homestretch. We appreciate you for joining us. Well, thanks to all of our guests for joining us, and be sure to check us out next Thursday right here on the Hy-Vee Homestretch on the No Coast Network.